Is Syndicate a bizarre curio or a straight-laced classic? Plot twist, it's both, a trench coat of industrial-grade nihilism worn over razor-sharp design that still slices through 2025's ocean of open-world busywork. Criminally underrated or secretly overrated? Yes, depending on whether your first contact was a pack of pirated floppies in '93, underrated revelation, or a modern GOG impulse buy that you bounced off after calling the UI boomery on X. Overrated thanks for the algorithmic engagement. And is it essential or eminently skippable now that your backlog looms like the Library of Babel in launcher form? That comes down to whether essential means historically pivotal or a reliable dopamine drip of unapologetic cigar-chewing cyber violence. Imagine Blade Runner directed by John Carpenter while he's speedrunning cannon fodder. Then crank the corporate cynicism dial until it snaps off in your hand. If that mental image warms your neon-soaked heart, welcome. Slide into the chrome trench coat, redline those adrenaline bars, and worship the absurd, all-conquering gadget that is the Persuadertron, our running gag, mascot, and moral litmus test. Historical context. Bullfrog Productions in the early 90s was less a studio than a controlled lab explosion. They'd already upended the god game genre with Populous and taught us queue theory via Theme Park. Then designer-producer Peter Molyneux and programmer Sean Cooper, between cups of instant coffee and bursts of synthwave, decided that isometric mayhem was underserved. Thus, Syndicate, an RTS-light, tactics-heavy slice of corporate dystopia, took shape inside a warehouse full of Amiga dev stations and perpetually unfinished Nerf battles. Electronic Arts, still a plucky software artist label flirting with acquisitions, handled publishing. The DOS and Amiga versions hit shelves in June 1993, 2 seasons before Doom lowered the lighting and raised everyone's blood pressure. The gaming landscape then was pivoting from 2D VGA bravura to early pre-polygon experiments. X-Wing was teaching joystick etiquette, Dooney 2 had just coined the RTS acronym, and Command & Conquer remained a distant sparkle. Into that half-formed void strode 4 silent agents in trench coats and mirror shades, blowing limb confetti across 640 by 480 cities, while a crunchy ad-lib soundtrack squelched under the weight of FM bass kicks. My first exposure came courtesy of a BBS sysop who mailed me floppies labeled top-down Terminator Sim. Grand Theft Auto wouldn't arrive for 4 more years. The man was prescient or reckless. Installing on a 386 DX40, I learned that Syndicate did not merely ask for hardware muscle, it chain-smoked it. VGA redraw stuttered when I cranked resolution, yet I tolerated 18 FPS gunfights because every click wrote a new anti-utopian anecdote, converting hapless civilians into a human wall, boosting drug sliders until agents jittered like caffeinated squirrels, then discovering you could set regional taxation levels and accidentally trigger citywide riots. I'd found a playable cyberpunk novel, equal parts neuromancer and corporate annual report. Bullfrog's internal folklore remains half revealed. Mission build sheets reportedly carried cheeky names like Piccadilly Circus of Doom and Prozac Uprising, though the surviving paper trail is murky. Consider these delicious rumors until some archivist scans the originals. Likewise, early prototype sprites of the Persuadertron allegedly resembled a hairdryer, an in-joke about blowing hot air at civilians. No public screenshots survive, so file that under plausible dev myth. The truths we can confirm: Mike Diskett handled AI pathing, Russell Shaw scored the pulsing soundtrack, and offices rang with the phrase "more explodey," an instruction no code comment archive has yet contradicted. Mechanics. Take an isometric city kinked at 45 degrees, throw in taxis that obey stoplights, civilians who scurry on predetermined errands, and corporate police who will shoot you for jaywalking, unless you shoot first. Into this sandbox, you drop a squad of up to 4 cybernetically superior agents, each customizable like Warhammer minis, except with more chrome body parts and fewer painting chores. Control is resolutely mouse-centric, left-click moves, right-click fires, lasso selects. There is no plausible tactics layer. Instead, the game requires real-time plate spinning assisted by the infamous IPA drug suite. 3 sliders. Red, adrenaline spikes movement speed. Blue, intelligence sharpens decision-making and reaction time. Brown-green, perception tightens aim and enemy awareness. Crank them judiciously and you can turn a single agent into a bullet-dodging savant. Max them all and he becomes a one-man genocidal fidget spinner, until burnout drains the bars and leaves him sluggish, a hungover demigod begging for another hit. Weaponry escalates from dispatch-grade Uzi and shotgun to the adored Gauss gun, a shoulder-launched rocket tube that erases structural geometry and the frame rate with equal aggression. Flamethrowers turn alleyways into pixel barbecues. Time bombs retexture plazas into smoking craters. Yet the heart, the soul, the cackling conscience of Syndacate is the Persuadertron. This handheld, brainwashing nozzle fires a ripple that hijacks civilian thought. Collect 2 civilians, then aim at security guards, and they convert. Stack 30 followers like brain-dead penguins, and rival agents eventually fall under your thrall too. It's a literal snowball mechanic. Your flock swells, cover fire increases, and the AI pathfinding begins to produce comedic conga lines you can herd off bridges or into enemy sites. Years before open-world social stealth, Bullfrog had invented proletariat puppetry. Mission parameters vary: infiltrate a biotech lab and kidnap a rival research chief, assassinate an uppity CEO, or sinfully fun, raise taxation to 100% by murdering dissenters until the populace surrenders. After each successful op, the globe view pops up, showing 50 distinct territories. Each features a taxation slider that fuels R&D coffers, but push taxes too high and rebellions spawn, forcing return missions. This macro layer fuses SimCity's economic fiddling with XCOM's resource tension, except your budget is paid in extorted citizenry rather than UN subsidies. Upgrades arrive in cybernetic body parts, torso reinforcement, hardwired targeting optics, prosthetic legs that outrun cars. Weapons too follow an escalating tech tree: minigun, lasers, long-range pulse rifle, the game-breaking long-range rifle that one-shots everything at the cost of reload lag long enough to microwave a burrito. Mix and match loadouts. I once fielded a squad of 3 minigun brutes plus 1 Persuadertron evangelist and dubbed them Doom Choir. Their muzzle choreography? A bullet gospel, unforgettable difficulty spike, Atlantic accelerator, 2 island bridges, entrenched Gauss gun agents, stray civilians doomed to gory splash damage, and an explosive timer that punishes tactics slower than speed chess. I reloaded save files so often my sound card started stuttering from disk access fatigue. On college finals week, that mission cost me a letter grade in calculus. No regrets. And because Syndicate rarely misses a chance to wink, some mission text nods to pop culture ancestors. Hostage Mr. R. Deckard is missing after a replicant incident. A side note warns Persuadertron is not approved for household use. Bullfrog invented the "don't try this at home" meme before YouTube. Another stage is briefing jokes that the previous operative, Howard T. Duckman, was lost. Marvel lawyers presumably rolled their eyes and moved on. Mini rant break. When modern players complain about pathfinding, I remind them this is the era of DOS extenders and EMS memory juggling. Code had to run on 386 and 486 boxes with no spare cycles. The agents do occasionally navigate like Roombas with vertigo. Yes, but that unpredictability is integral. Emergent chaos makes every victory screenshot uniquely yours. Ironing it out would neuter the noir farce. Legacy and Influence Bullfrog doubled down with American Revolt. Late 1993 for DOS, a difficulty doubled add-on that armed civilians with miniguns and introduced map scripts so savage they bordered on parody. Console conversions followed, a surprisingly competent Sega Genesis port, top-down but trimmed content, and a 3DO version that added zoom but kept PC save passwords longer than some phone numbers. Then came Syndicate Wars in 1996, driven by a new 3D engine, destructible skyscrapers, nuclear grenades, and camera rotation nausea. While beloved by fans, it arrived as 3D accelerators hit shelves and Quake rewrote expectations, limiting mainstream spread. The brand hibernated until 2012 when EA commissioned Starbreeze for a Syndicate reboot, now a stylish FPS. Its chip-rip melee kills nodded to the Persuadertron, but fans of isometric terror lamented the missing tactical layer. Sales proved middling, and the neon lights dimmed again. Influence nonetheless courses through game DNA. Rockstar alumni admit Syndicate's city AI loops shaped Grand Theft Auto's first pedestrians. Shadow Tactics, Desperados 3, and Satellite Rain, a Kickstarter love letter by Bullfrog veterans, all borrow the idea of unpredictable throngs and multi-agent stealth in real time. Even Arcane's dishonored fascination with moral freedom owes a faint debt to Bullfrog's unblinking satire. Here's a tool, you decide how ethically repugnant to be. Why niche rather than immortal? First, the UI's complexity. Juggling drug bars mid-firefight is like conducting a rave while filing taxes. Second, the morality. Syndicate refuses catharsis. There is no plucky rebellion, only corporate boards sipping brandy over kill counts. Critics in 1993 called it fascist fantasy. They recognized the satire, yet recoiled. Third, the isometric boom cut its thunder short. By 1995, every publisher wanted texture-mapped polygons, not pixel sprites. Syndicate became retro overnight. Easter egg hunters still chase rumors of a scrapped Mars colony DLC, hover sleds, bubble helmets, red sand tile sets believed to reside on ex-Bullfrog hard drives. None surfaced, though concept scribbles appeared in a 2014 GDC talk. Whether myth or half-coded beta, the very possibility titillates modders who modded Atlantic Accelerator into a nighttime neon rave just to punish brave souls anew. Closing paragraph plus score boots Syndicate today, and the VGA palette remains as soaked in smoggy oranges and toxic greens as ever. The soundtrack's FM pulses still slap with the urgency of a pager meltdown. The Persuadertron remains PC gaming's most deliciously immoral toy, an interactive Turing test asking, will you use mass mind control for pacifist infiltration or turn the city into a meat shield? Spoiler, both, and you'll cackle either way. Pathfinding jitters, undeniable. UI friction, sandpaper on newbie nerves. But no game before or since has merged real-time tactics, corporate satire, economic meta layer, and crowd-controlled delirium with quite this brazen confidence. Score, 9.0 out of 10. 1 point docked for interface friction that might curdle modern reflexes, 9 awarded for atmosphere, sandbox malice, and a gadget whose very name, Persuadertron, still triggers full-body nostalgia like Pavlov's bell rung in Dolby Surround. Fire it up, redline those adrenaline bars, and remember, in Syndicate's neon night, hostile takeovers are just the foreplay.